Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender regime boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? So I wanted to talk about the welterweight division and the abundance of talent at welterweight right now. We know that 147 pounds has been the most, outside of heavyweight, has been, deemed as the glamour division, the most popular division in the sport of boxing, probably in history, but especially in the last 15, 20, 30 years. As long as I've been watching boxing, the welterweight division has always been extremely popular. And just from my recollection, this is the most loaded I've ever seen the division from top to bottom. This is the most stacked and the most abundant, just based off of talent and potential. And then the current state of the division, it's absolutely just amazing when you just take a step back and just look at the landscape of just 147. And what got me to thinking about that is, of course, we had Imantas Stanionis versus Butayev. They had their title eliminator for the WBA this past weekend. Of course, we had a unification match between Earl Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas. We have Jerron Boots Ennis coming up versus Custio Clayton in a title eliminator for the IBF. That this same past weekend, you had Conor Benn. He's going through his string of, I guess you call them stay busy fights, or I wouldn't even call it these fights step up fights, because they not step up fights. He's just staying at one level. He not necessarily taking steps up, nor is he actually looking to take a step up. He came out and was very clear that, hey, I want to fight C-level guys as long as I can, and he not really looking at trying to fight no, higher grade of a fighter, unless it's like an older guy or somebody that's already, that's either smaller than him or somebody that's older on their way out. He calling out Adrian Broner, Kell Brook, Mikey Garcia, shit like that. I actually think out of all those guys, and it's the crazy thing because Mikey's the smallest guy, but I think out of all those guys, the best matchup for him would be Mikey. But I'm not even about to entertain that shit. You dig what I'm saying? But I'm not finna shit on Conor Benn. The reason I mention him is because I think he's actually a talent, and I think he's a skill. And you got Virgil Ortiz, man. I hope he's able to get his health in order. Incredibly fun fighter to watch. One of my favorite guys to watch, Virgil Ortiz, man. And he had a fight that he was supposed to have a fight a few weeks ago, and he ended up having to drop out of the fight due to a medical situation. So just think about that, right? Like I just mentioned, a hell of a lot of talent, a hell of a lot of ability, potential, skill, excitement. Like, all of these guys are very exciting fighters. Conor Benn, Imantas Stanionis, Jerron Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, and Butayev. He's still in the mix, man. That shit was a grueling, inside, just very tactical brawl on the inside, a phone booth fight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, imagine Stanionis versus Jerron Ennis, because I think Jerron Ennis is a really good inside fighter. We haven't seen him do it on that level yet, but I think Jerron Ennis is a very, very good inside fighter. Imagine, somebody like Stanionis versus, Conor Benn, or Butayev versus Conor Benn, Virgil Ortiz versus Jerron Boots Ennis, Stanionis. You feel me? Like, you can mix these guys up, bro, and I think you will get great fights. All those guys that I just mentioned, if you mix them all up, you got Rashidi Ellis. Rashidi Ellis is, he just signed with the PBC. He was getting hit over there at Golden Boy. I really like Rashidi Ellis, man. Young guy, very skilled fighter, very fun to watch. fan friendly, throws a lot of punches, very fun fighter to watch. And I think you're going to have Gary Antoine Russell coming up to 147 sometime soon. So think about that. All of that talent that I just named. And then on top of that, you have Earl Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. The two top dogs sitting at the top. The only two champions in the division who are on a collision course for meeting at the end of this year for Undisputed. All the marbles on the line. I think that fight is the winner of that fight will be deemed as the #1 pound for pound fighter on the planet. I'm going to make an extra video. I'm going to make a standalone video on that and just break that shit down. I might even have to do a live, but I'm going to make a video first telling y'all why I believe that, and then we could talk about it on the live or something like that. But the winner out of Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, in my opinion, they are going to be deemed as the #1 pound for pound fighter on the planet. I don't think it's going to be no debate. Just look at the track record of both guys and just that fight alone. Like, come on, bro. Nobody else in boxing right now will have a better win than beating Spence or beating Crawford. Nobody will have a better win than that. This is an incredible time for boxing right now. There's a lot of talent sprinkled around multiple different divisions. I mean, I think we all know what's going on at lightweight, new talent at heavyweight. 154 got some new talent. 154 always getting busy. They always active. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's so much talent across the sport. I just really believe that we are in an incredible time for boxing right now. Like, we are in an incredible time for boxing right now. So, but just think about that. The welterweight division is extremely talented, and that is dangerous as fuck. It's going to be awesome, and it's going to be great for the fans. But I'm going to tell you like this. A lot of fighters going to really get their shit tested. These 147 guys, if you going to come to this division, whether you moving up or down, you going to get your shit tested, because it ain't going to be a lot of maneuvering you can do. All the belts finna get tied up by the end of this year with the two best fighters on the planet, Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. All that shit finna get tied up, so we about to find out who the best is. We about to get up somebody crowned at welterweight. Then when that's done, I expect the winner to move up. I expect both guys to move up, honestly. If it's going to be a rematch, I think it happens at 154. You know what I'm saying? So I think both guys move up regardless of what happens in that fight. And what's going to be left is all these young guys fighting for these vacant titles. And it's going to be a bloody mess. Then you got journeymen like Cody Crowley. I think Cody Crowley is going to be, no disrespect to him, I think Cody Crowley is going to be one of those tough guys that's going to give everybody fits. He going to be hard to look good against, but I don't see him finishing off at the top level at welterweight. I think he's going to be one of those guys, that you going to have to fight to earn respect type shit. You feel me? But man, it's an abundance of talent, man. And these guys that I just named, they going to have to work hard to get to where like if they want to become champion, and they want to become undisputed, they want to go on the type of run that Earl Spence on right now, they want to do the type of shit that, that Terrence Crawford doing, they going to have to bite down and get on their shit, man. It's finna be hell to pay for anybody that's trying to make moves at 147. For the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to be hell to pay. You ain't finna really get no easy wins, man, at 147. I think, me personally, out of the young guys, Jerron Boots Ennis is clearly the cream of the crop. But hey, I would love to see Ennis versus Conor Benn. I would love to see Ennis versus Ortiz. Conor Benn versus Ortiz. You dig what I'm saying? Stanley Jonas and Conor Benn. Bruh, these is explosive matchups. Phenomenal stylistic matchups. The welterweight division is cracking. It's cracking. So think about it. From top to bottom, you got the best fighting the best in Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. That shit finna get settled. That's a whole era in itself. You know what I'm saying? And then you have all these young guys to pass the torch to, bro. It's finna go down. You still got Keith Thurman getting busy at 147. If he gon' stay busy, he's still a formidable opponent. Bro, it's finna be hell to pay. You gonna have to get it out the mud if you're gonna be successful at 147. You gonna have to get it out the mud. And I think Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford is gonna set the stage. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence and that fight, I feel like can change boxing. That shit, I think boxing already trending in the right direction right now with how everything is formulating this year, the fights that we already got lined up, and the shit that done happened so far, and the guys that got the momentum right now. I feel like the right guys have momentum in boxing right now. You know what I'm saying? When the wrong guys got momentum in boxing, shit gets stagnant. You know, motherfuckers, fights get held up. You feel me? Guys that don't want to test themselves and fight the best. You know what I'm saying? Everybody else follows suit. But when the right guys got the torch and they got the momentum, like Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, you feel me? When guys like that got the momentum, you see shit start to change. You see like 50-50 fights like Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford is a possibility now. The shit that we seen this past weekend with Spence and Ugas, hell of a fucking matchup, right? So this shit finna get real. But particularly at 147, if you want to make a name at 147, you're going to have to go through some shit. And I think Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, they going to set an example. They going to show the whole world of boxing, this what happens when you fight the best. This what happens when you put it all on the line. The respect these guys going to get, the notoriety, you feel me? They going to be extremely decorated. They bag going to go up to a whole nother level. The respect is going to be crazy. And these guys is going to really set the standard for the sport of boxing for years to come. Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford, by the end of this year, they finna set the standard for boxing and especially for the welterweight division. They going to let everybody know, like, hey, you going to have to fight and you going to have to get it out the mud. And I love the way the welterweight division is being stacked up right now. It ain't just one guy. It ain't just two guys. It's a whole lot of really good fighters that's going to end up having to mix it up, man. So y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. You know, how did y'all feel about the Stanionis and Butayev fight? You know, how you feel about Conor Benn, Jerron Ennis, all the young guys that's making a name for themselves right now. And, you know, we're going to continue to break down Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford's fight coming up. When they do make that shit happen, I have no doubt in my mind that fight is going to happen. I know both guys want it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. You know, ain't no ducking, ain't no bullshit going on. Both of those guys real warriors, and they both want to fight. So I know that fight gonna happen. I believe that shit in my soul. You know, so we gonna continue to break that down. I got more videos coming on that for sure. But y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.